Sorry, you missed it. Lucas was doing an interpretive
awesome.
dance.
I was
to the
watching it.
countdown song.
I was feeling our intro music like so much. I was in the
Now,
club and then it goes-
Lucas, you can do an interpretive dance to Talia's name song.
Oh, please.
Here we go.
Oh, no.
Lucas.
Hi, Spare and Kay and Joe and Brandy, Kathy, Caitlin, Kira, Natalie. Hi, Lee and Nicole and Brandy and Ashley and Peggy and Cindy and Tim. Hi, Julie and Martin and Bobby and Adrian, Judy, Jen, Tammy and Matt. Hi, Brenda and Dan and Justin and Jeff and
Scott.
Scott. I can read. Jennifer, Ashley, Lee, Kira, and Dan again.
There we go. That was quite interpretive. In fact, I muted it and I could tell exactly whose names you were saying.
That's fine.
So, welcome everybody to the second
Lauren.
live discussion
Sorry.
for The Hike. This is, we can discuss the whole
I
book
can't
now.
reach it.
So, spoilers
How long
past
are
this
your
point.
arms?
What is happening over there?
I forgot the book on the
This
shelf.
book? This one?
Yeah, but thanks. I need something to physically hold on to.
Yeah. So, so this is the whole discussion for The Hike. And we can also call this a support group if we need to, because I feel like as a collective, as a group, we've been through some stuff now.
We have. Yes.
We've seen some things, we've experienced some stuff. Bailey, get off the couch.
Get down.
He's so sneaky.
He's a sneaky dog. So use this space as whatever you need it to be post The Hike.
It's a safe space, whether you're scarred in a good way or scarred in a bad way. You're all welcome here.
Yes, and I'm glad we did it together, because if I read this by myself and I had nobody to talk to about this book, I would literally go insane. I would just be like spouting random stuff at Christy, and she'd be like, "You might be insane," and I'd be like, "No, I read this."
You'd be like, no, you didn't. You're a liar, dirty liar.
Yeah, no, this we definitely get into like what we think this book is about. I delved into like some Goodreads. Oh my God, you wrote that much? Oh.
I can read really. I'm going to say it really fast.
Do it to the same tune as the name song.
No, it won't. It won't go as quickly then.
But yeah, like this book is it's very open to interpretation. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we got turned into crabs twice this year. We did that together. Yes, thanks, Joe. We did something about crabs.
Something about crabs.
Technically, we got turned into crabs 3 times.
I also learned.
What was the third one?
The other drug book.
Prey of Gods?
I thought that was the second one.
What's the third one? What's the first
That was
one then?
Crab and Dolphin.
No,
sex.
you get turned into a crab twice.
There's technically 2 crabs in this one. But I also learned while reading this book that I should not read directly before going to sleep. Because I had some dreams. Oh my God. Like I woke up in the middle of the night, I was sweating. I was like, oh my God, this weird things are happening. And it took me a long time to snap out of it. Anyway.
Yeah, that was an early takeaway for me too. Once Rottweiler men things came into play, like right as I was trying to go to bed, and I was like, no.
Yeah, a lot of good questions here in the comments. Did Ben really change that much though? Yeah, we got to get into all this stuff. Kathy, you know what we're talking about. Again, trying to talk to your husband who's too weirded out by the synopsis. Okay, so let's get into it. Before Talia reads her novel that she's written, do we want to chime in with any, or should we just let Talia go?
I think we should just let Talia do her thing real quick.
All right,
rip it off like a Band-Aid. Okay.
Here it comes. Here's Talia's take.
Please be patient with me. I am just here. I wrote an intro actually. Okay. I finished this book the Saturday after our first discussion, so I wrote down all of my thoughts after I was done while the memories were all fresh because I didn't want to lose anything in the week and a half up to this discussion or have my initial reaction fade. It is a lot, but if you can let me get through all of it and get it all out now, then I promise to later contribute to the discussion in a way that strives to actually be beneficial instead of just ranting.
Oh, this is a rant. Here we go.
That was the preface. Okay. You know that part in the end of Billy Madison when they're having the trivia competition to determine how much Billy has learned, and he's asked about the Industrial Revolution, but he doesn't know the answer, so he just starts making stuff up about the children's book, The Puppy Who Lost His Way, and then when he's done, the principal says, what you have just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever read. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. Okay. That's what was running through my head as I read the second half of this book. I kept getting closer and closer to the end, waiting for the epiphany that would make all of this make sense. And then when I finally got to the last page, I was like, oh, really? That's it. Why? It felt like the end of Matrix Revolutions, a complete letdown. Like, what was the actual point? I know that not every single book has to be life-changing or this great metaphor for life, but I genuinely don't understand what the point of this book was because it felt like the world's longest short story. And I'm sure I'm upsetting a lot of people right now because this book has incredible reviews and I know a lot of people love it, but for me, I don't get it. Maybe there is this incredibly deep symbolism and I am missing it. It's gone completely over my head because it was not meant for a reader like me. But on the flip side, what if this was all some kind of joke? I know Drew Magary has what is probably a well-earned reputation for being a fantastic writer, but I couldn't help but have a moment's hesitation where I thought, what if he just wanted to write something incredibly weird and twisted and random so that he could sit back and watch as readers try to dissect this book for meaning? Like maybe he really gets the giggles over the thought of there one day being a college lit class where the professor and the students debate over the supposed parallels hidden within this book, and there aren't any. He's just laughing to himself. Anyways, all of that to say, this book left me feeling a little annoyed, kind of dumb, and sort of like I'd wasted my time, but also oddly glad in a sadistic way that I read it because that experience gave me the wisdom to know that I don't have to read it again, and maybe that's the real meaning. I, like old Ben, can now move on with this greater knowledge and peace that it is over, while the young part of me accepts that it happened, and now I get to go back to my normal life. Okay. I'm dumb.
I'm just so impressed that you love Billy Madison so much that you know that quote by heart.
It's a fantastic. Okay. It's a great moment. And I feel like we've all had that moment where you sit there and you're just like, what? Okay. Anyways, that was just my opinion. Who's next?
Okay. Christy, what did you write down?
I don't have a big speech. So I really enjoyed the first half. It was a really nice ride up until the point where we find out that Crab has also been, and he's been on the path for 10 years. And that kind of threw me a little bit. And I never really recovered from that, I think. I felt like the second half dragged. And like in the first half, you could see all the connections with his real life. And I really appreciated that. And in the second half, it wasn't, I don't know, it kind of got lost a little bit for me. And so I liked the first half and I liked the end. I thought the end was a good twist, and it's not the twist that I was expecting.
Okay. We got a F off from Talia. We got a F from Christy. I like this book. I liked it all the way through. And it wasn't, like I understand what everybody's saying about like, what's the point? Why is this? But I think that it was like, for me, it was like opening a bunch of blind boxes. And like every time you got to a new chapter, you're like, oh, what's going to be in this one? I have no idea. And I could never have even guessed what was going to be in those boxes. And it was just so ridiculous and crazy. And I was there for the ride. And it wasn't so much about like trying to discern the meaning or anything like that. Well, I did kind of wanted there to be more of a connection at the end. And I kind of didn't get it, but the way that he sort of dealt with things and his sort of character development was, I thought it was, a fascinating, insane ride, and I was there for it. The twist at the end got me. I was just like, "Ooh, I don't know what it means." It was just like, "Oh, okay, wow, that's wow," and then it got me to thinking that like, well, this is like a new level of hell then for Ben and his wife, because like you've been through basically like 10 plus years of this and you can't say a word, and you know just by looking at each other that like you both have been through this thing and you can't talk about it, and that's yeah, we all have different experiences with blind boxes. But yeah, for me it was like a crazy random fun ride with some messed up stuff that made me have nightmares.
Just
But
the trauma and the torture, and all for nothing.
there was a lot. There was a
Why?
lot of it. There was a lot
Okay,
of that.
sorry.
It was just
Not my
it was,
turn.
yeah. All the WTF. I was there for the. I like the weird. Apparently, I'm a big fan of weird, and this hit that for me. I think it's just, it was a fast read for me. Like it made me want to keep going. Now I will say, I felt it did drag in the second half more than the first half. Like I think the second half, they spent way too much time with Cisco building the castle. Like for me,
Yes.
that was like a huge speed bump in the pacing of the book.
Years.
Because like, yeah, that was like, well, where are these 10 years come from? Oh, there they are, 10 years building the castle. So that was a big speed bump for me. And I was like, just get like, I was so used to like getting new things every like chapter that once we got Cisco and the building the castle, it just grinded for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't a big fan of that. How badass was Cisco? Pretty badass.
I really did like him.
Thanks, Cisco.
I will say.
And quite the optimist,
Yeah.
interestingly enough. But yeah, it was. Yeah, we'll talk more about it, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Well, and it's really interesting. The whole 10 years is 30 pages of this book. It's 3 short chapters. Like,
It felt long though.
it did. I was flipping through this earlier, and the chapters are so short, and I can't believe the 10 years is it's this right here. That's the castle. That's the 10 years.
Yeah.
Whole lot of build up for very little payoff.
Lucas, are you listening to music or something?
No, I'm
Oh,
jamming out to the thong song because I've just got all
Oh,
night long.
okay.
Because Cisco.
What?
Remember
See, when I think of Cisco, I think of Captain Cisco of the space station Deep Space Nine, which
Well,
is
now
a Star Trek reference. Drink
you
up,
can-
everybody.
Yeah,
I have chocolate milk.
yeah. Now everyone has tumblers. Like you
This
don't
is
want to take
vodka.
a shot from that, but we did have take a shot glasses. If you were
For
one of
chocolate
the
milk.
people that bought one of those, congrats. They're rare. I guess it's
Lucas?
my turn. This is a weird book. I like weird. I liked parts of this book. I didn't like parts of this book. I think my favorite part, honestly, is the whole mechanism. He's got.
Oh, no, focus.
He's got a truck.
Focus. Focus.
Focus. Thank you, Matt. My favorite thing that Drew Magary did was the whole crab thing of you at the end of that part you see the split, but then later on it comes back around, and when you see Crab being Crab and meeting Ben for the first time, like I liked that whole construct. I liked Cisco. My problem is, that I think his name's Charlie Day. Is that the actor?
Yeah.
And it's that meme where he's going like
Luigi.
this, and he's got all of the sticky notes and the thread on the paper. He's
Because
doing
he's
that
lost
thing.
his mind. Yes.
Oh yeah, we lost my smooth jazz voice. I am feeling better.
Focus.
That's Drew Magary for me. I think he got really high multiple times and just wrote down something on a sticky note, and then he had all these sticky notes on the wall, and he was like, oh, here it is, it's the path, and this path like connects all these dots, and it's not coherent. And I kind of am with Talia. I kind of think he's trolling everyone. I don't know what this guy's
I'm okay with
written.
that. I'm okay
I've
with
never
it.
read anything. I couldn't tell you another book that he's written, but like it does feel a little trolly to me, where he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw this shit on the page and let's see what happens. And I hope, like I do, if that's the case, like bravo, because here we are, you know,
We're all talking
we're
about
all
it, aren't
talking
we?
about it. And yeah, like I could totally see some like professor trying to get totally philosophical with it, and Drew Magary just laugh and be like, dude, I was so high and I wrote that, and game
Drew has a
on.
very deep voice.
Yeah, that's what Drew Magary
Interesting note. I found a Q&A with him on Reddit, and it wasn't for the hike, but there were some questions about the hike in it. And he admitted that he was completely sober when he came up with the idea for the hike.
That is awesome.
Is it?
The
or is it
idea. He came up with
worrisome?
the idea while he was sober. Sure.
Good point.
Um,
I will say, because we talked about this too, a positive about this book for me. At no point in time did I ever anticipate what was going to happen next. No part of this book was predictable. And that honestly is very rare. Even if you have a fantastic book, there's always a moment in it somewhere where you're like, oh, yeah, like that's nice, but we knew that was happening. This, no clue. Never.
Yeah, I think, you know, like we were saying, like he just had some like a random idea board. But if I had a random idea board, it would look nothing like I could never come up with this deranged stuff that he did.
Cyclops, Ghostbusters, Star Trek.
Yeah, it would just be that.
I really want to know, like, so in once he leaves the hike and he's driving home, he passes the 2 exits in a row that were Cisco and Ramona. Are those real exits that are back to back? Like, I really want to know.
Probably.
You got to drive that Pennsylvania to Maryland.
Oh God, I'm never going there. Are you kidding? I'm not taking any chances.
But yeah, I think that, you know, like we're talking like some people went on some Reddit threads, and it's resonates. You know, people talk about how it resonated with them, and Matt said the reason this book resonates is that that sentence also describes large portions of life. I've, you know, for whatever it was, like he did a really good job of like painting his emotional state, Ben's emotional. Like I could feel it. Like I could feel what he was feeling, even if he was in some like random stuff that I hope I never experience, even anything remotely close to. Like I feel like he did a good job of making me empathize with him, not just like in like what he was reacting to, but in his desire to get home to his family, and like the unbearable sadness that he felt at certain times, and like, you know, all of the sort of high emotional moments. And so that, like, you know, whatever random it was, like the book did make me feel, it made me like empathize with the character of Ben, even when he was like a crab, which I've never been that I know of.
Yet.
Yeah. Just give it 10 years.
Ugh. Depressing.
How old was Ben in this book? 38 when it started? That's me. That's how old I am. Isn't it? Yeah. I'm 38. So yeah, I'm Ben.
I feel bad for you.
And you know, like this stuff like this, like when he started treating rocks and stuffed animals like his kids, like that was like, you know, like whatever he like outlandish traumatic events he was facing, like he dealt with them in pretty human ways, I would say.
Justin confirmed that you are 38. Adam.
Yeah, well, you should know.
You would know.
Thanks, Justin.
Never been a crabber, I can't tell you.
Helpful.
Exactly.
You just put your eyeballs real close and we can try and see the truth in your face. Have you ever killed anyone?
What? No.
You paused. That was weird.
Were you talking to me? Tim says, appreciated the build-ups and the connection to his real life, but the resolution to each was too abrupt and magical.
Yeah. I like Mike comparing it to the Saw movies.
Which I've never seen because I don't watch scary movies.
Because it says putting people through hell so that they appreciate their lives afterwards. It reminds me of the Saw movies.
Oh yeah, I mean that definitely happened. He was all about appreciating his life, but I feel like it affected. Now that we know what happened to Teresa, it affected her much differently. Like she like distanced herself. She like went mute for a minute and like, you know, it was like kind of introspective.
Well, we don't know what he did when he got back.
We don't. Matt says this book hit him hard. So like, yeah, let's hear about it. Like, Jeff, the hike is weird. We have a unique journey. So yeah, like it has certain things to offer, even if
Jeff had another
us.
comment up there, about whether your personal beliefs on either fate or destiny or afterlife play a factor in maybe your view on this book or your enjoyment. I don't know. I'd like to think that there's something beyond all of this, and but I don't know. But I'm with Kira too. Kira was like, but it there's so much that I could get that if it were a direct, it's like he had moments where there were direct correlations with something that happened in his life, and here's the manifestation of that event within this path journey, which I agree with Natalie. It should have been called the path, not the hike.
Oh God.
Yeah. Right.
Dumb.
Yeah. So good job,
Sorry.
Natalie. But I feel like the further it got into the book, and maybe that's mental degradation or something, like those correlations between like, okay, Rottweiler man and this attack that, he endured when he was a kid. I feel like that got way more amorphous, and it just became like, now I'm going to throw in all these weird creatures, and whether or not they really have any correlation to his life that led him to this point, I don't know. So
yeah, now I understand why his wife didn't speak for days. If you had just went through all this stuff and you couldn't say a word about it, you're probably going to want to get your shit together before you
also
start saying words.
Kind of coming to terms with all the shit you just did. Like, she killed someone.
And she's a nurse.
Yeah.
So like it's also like ingrained in her because of her career and her life choices to do the opposite of that. So, yeah.
The day-to-day drag of work is, man, y'all in your long, this is good stuff with your.
Well, and I will say, when I finished the book, I was but then after reading everybody's posts on the discussion topics post and seeing your comments, like, it's, my opinion is getting better. Like, y'all are definitely helping me get there.
Mine is not, but I do always love the discussion. And I love reading the opinions of people who love the book when I don't like the book, because it helps me, even if it's not going to change my opinion of the book, but I think it helps us become more open-minded, because you're just learning more about someone else's perspective.
So let's talk about the ending. Not necessarily the very ending, like the Teresa reveal.
The twist?
No,
that was the twist.
That was the twist. I'm talking about, like, so he had a choice, and he could go back to his normal life and not say a word, or he could choose this ultimate, like, paradise, nirvana. You can have whatever you want. So he ripped himself in half into two Bens and said, the young Ben and older Ben. And then the older Ben went to nirvana, and hey, Star Trek. And then young Ben went back to his old life.
That's why you tore it in half.
Yeah, I got it. I
thought that was very clever.
I thought you were mad at the book, so you tore it in half. But I just finished it yesterday, so I didn't understand your post.
So what? I was confused as to like what that really like implied about him being able to go in both directions.
And how come we didn't get the perspective if they're both Ben? I was like a little disappointed that we didn't get the perspective of both Bens. We stuck with the young one, which to me implies that the old Ben's not really him anymore.
Well,
I don't know.
He said if he had chosen the nirvana door, then the other world would have ceased to exist. Is that right? Am I remembering that right?
That's what the executive producer said.
Bobby.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. But Katie likes that he was able to choose both. He ripped himself in half, and then he chose both. And the producer was like, "I like the way you think, kid." Hey, but I was like, did he just like beat the game, or like did he like?
Or was you supposed to do that? Because the
Yeah.
executive producer's kind of bonkers, so I don't know that I trust him.
I thought it was interesting how hard the executive producer was trying to convince Ben to take the Nirvana door. Like, I just reread it while we were waiting for the live discussion to start, and like he really went on and on trying to talk him into it.
Maybe each person that goes to Nirvana, he gets like a work bonus.
Maybe.
I don't know. That would
But-
make just as much sense as some of the other stuff.
That's an interesting point, Matt.
What? Where?
The Ben splitting himself. Since I felt post trauma that the person I was before was a different person than the person I was after, which, you know, as that kind of image, I think it fits because
Yeah.
he went through a lot of trauma, and this, you know, this whole book is sort of like a, you know, a post trauma after post trauma series of events. There is a lot of psychology involved, even if he's trolling us, which if he is, I still appreciate it. Love a good troll.
So we're talking about the tearing himself in half. Ashley Wade said, what was the significance of him cutting himself in two and taking both paths beyond him acknowledging he's in control? And she felt like it was a cop out, but I felt like the fact that he's acknowledging acknowledging that he's in control was a big part of it, especially at the end there.
So let's talk about, I mean, Matt's comment is similar here.
Yeah, and I have another one from Matt
Two.
too, which is probably the same thing. I can't count the times I've mourned the things I've missed because I couldn't be in two places at once. I think it was him acknowledging that we all have multiple selves, the one who will do anything for our partners and kids, and the one who has changed, grown, and seeks new fulfillment.
This book is about processing trauma and realizing one's agency. I mean, he has this big epiphany after he goes through all this stuff that like he is the producer.
Well, he goes through the epiphany after he has the dream memory with his dad and the roller coaster.
The roller coaster.
Which is something I've actually been thinking about for days now. I don't know why the roller coaster scene really like hit me.
Because it's like the whole pretend you're driving and it makes it better.
I think the fact that he forced Ben into the roller coaster, even though like he desperately did not want to do that. And then his whole experience with like accepting it and leaning into it and then finally coming to enjoy it. It's kind of what the whole book was about.
Yeah, it's kind of what he did at the end.
Yeah,
right? Like
it's
when he
exactly what he did at the end.
took control and turned and bent this whole environment to his will and became the producer, which you know was a lot of either subtle or not so subtle representations of past traumatic events for Ben. You know, like the dogs and the, you know, and then everything else was much more subtle. But
I feel like I saw it more as, if I had to find a metaphor, then I'd be like, all right, you're the producer. So all of your own misery and self-destructive tendencies, you're doing this to yourself. And you could have stopped it a long time ago, but you're blind to the end result. And also, yes, roller coaster, pretend like you're in charge. That's basically what we're all doing in life all the time. We're pretending like we are running our own lives, but the reality is everything bigger than us is 100% out of our control, and we're just going along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. So what do y'all think about Elizabeth's comment here?
oh, layers. I want to believe.
Oh wow, yeah.
Does everyone in this universe end up going on the path at some point in time?
I think
That's a great question.
I think that we're on the path right now.
I will say in the Q&A that I read with Drew Magary, he addressed this and he confirmed that Ben's dad did go on the path.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. Which kind of makes sense if you think like he kind of prepared Ben for going on the path with the whole roller coaster thing.
That's insane.
Psychonauts, for everyone looking at that comment, is a game where it's a cartoony game, but you go into people's mind to try to basically defeat their monsters.
Yeah, they're demons.
They're demons.
So I know that like the path is separate from time because obviously he like when he came back 10 years later, he was not gone at all. But I'm still confused by the fact that Cisco came from
The world.
way back when. Like
Yeah, he was one of those
1460s
what
or
was-
something.
Spanish explorers.
what was their intention behind that? Was he trying to show that like the path is a wormhole or like
It's like the Nexus from Star Trek Generations if the Nexus was
I need you
hell.
to use
The-
a reference that I understand.
The executive
Somebody watch Star Trek.
The executive producer specifically said that Cisco is just another person. There was very little overlap there. So I think that he was just another person going on the path.
But why
Well, if time doesn't exist on the path, then people from the future and the past could also be on there. At the
I
same
don't
time.
like that. I don't like it.
the wormhole aliens.
Like the wormhole aliens,
Deep Space Nine again.
the prophets.
I mean, it's okay. I know what a wormhole is. Kind of.
but you don't know who the wormhole aliens are.
It's an alien that lives in a wormhole.
They are linear beings. Yes, Cindy.
Where? Oh,
But yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting thoughts here about making choices and
Mhm.
taking one direction versus the next.
So Dan
yes.
actually asked, do we assume that the offer the executive producer made about the doors was not a trick and would play out exactly as it was pitched? Or do we assume that there's a greater catch that we don't know about?
oh
And-
man, how crappy for old Ben to be like, I'm going to Nirvana, and then JK, you're hanging out with crabs again.
And I wonder, does the path, like all the experiences you have on the path, ensure that you pick the right door? Which I don't know if that is even a valid question since he picked both.
Here we go. We're a book club. We like to read. Here we go.
Read it out loud for the
I
class.
agree with the idea that the book is about a person who has experienced trauma in his life and is weighed down by the consequences. The absurdity of the events that occur to him on the path is the torture that he inflicts on himself until he realizes that he controls his own destiny and that he is not controlled by the trauma. So in the end, when he splits himself in half, I feel like that is him forgiving himself, giving that part of his self some grace and choosing to move forward.
Well,
I
Julie,
do. I like that.
I love that.
That is
yeah.
very well
I
said.
like that much more than the book. You should write a
Yeah.
book.
But I mean, I
I
can feel
will read
that. I can feel that from like, in retrospect, thinking about like all the things that he'd been through and all the sort of down moments that he had and all the things he had to overcome. When he like learned about how you're looking at the shirts ideas.
No,
Oh,
I
I
was
saw
looking
Matt's
at eating the book.
Eating the book.
So there was a lot of good food in this book.
Actually, no.
Was there?
We're gonna do
Ramona's
crab
stew.
stew.
Well, there was also that, but he ate pretty well when he got like real food.
Ugh.
There were lots of. Did you catch my comment in the group about living lives and dreams that are longer than real time? Oh yeah.
Are we going to talk about this?
Yeah, you
We can
want
talk
to?
about
All
this?
right, y'all open
Oh
up
yeah,
the
let's talk about
floodgates.
the zombies.
Oh, the zombies.
Excuse
Open-
me, the undead.
There's zombies.
Undead
You
inside.
tricked
Open
me
the
into
door.
reading a zombie book, and it's not even October.
I don't think anybody knew.
First of all, they're the undead, not zombies.
Yeah, there's a
Mhm.
difference.
a
Christy
difference.
knows.
That creature has no skin
Yeah,
and didn't even try to eat anybody. Oh, the mouth zombies, however, did.
Mouth.
There's a lot of
that was
biting.
terrifying.
That was
That was terrifying. The mouth things were terrifying. I had like that gave me the heebie-jeebies
We'll see.
so much, and I don't like having the heebie-jeebies.
There's the regenerators. Those are cannibalistic. I think those are just classic zombies. The smokes. We
Fuck
knew about those. The
Smart clap. Hey.
Yeah, the skinless and the jellies,
The jellies.
the head spiders.
No thanks.
Those were good.
Sorry.
And the mouth demons.
No. All of it was
Clearly
terrible.
not zombies.
How inventive. Yeah, the curious and undead. Exactly. There's just one of these is
You
like
don't know what a
classic
zombie
zombie.
is?
Wait, this one
It is a
Spiders-
dead that's not dead.
with heads as bodies. Oh my god, when that happened, that was worse than like he can come up with some creepy Lovecraftian imagery here.
Yeah.
And they keep growing back. So you could keep chopping his heads off. And then there's like a dozen head spiders
the
with the same
thing.
head as the dude.
But he overcame it all. But
That one's for
Good luck.
Talia.
um,
Pretty sure there's no zombies in the ghost.
so
Train.
when he came to the realization that when you leave the path, you die, but if you stay on the path, you can't die. What did that do for y'all?
Nothing.
Well, my first question is, was the cave on the path or was it outside of the path? Because he really almost died.
I think
it
the
was on
path went straight through it.
Okay.
Yeah. But like when I found out that like when he's on the path, he can't die, I thought he was going to have one of the moment that he had at the end a whole lot sooner when he's like, oh, I can't die. It's like Bill Murray from
I
Groundhog
know Kung
Day.
Fu. Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just going to do whatever then. But
But he didn't. You don't have to be careful anymore at that point, right? Like,
yeah, as long as you stay on the path, like
Mhm.
you're going to get bruised and chopped up and turned into things. But
Yep.
but you're not going to die.
Well, and I know that there were zombie-ish creatures, and you're probably mad at me for that, but we also had a cannibal who stopped eating humans. She lost her taste for humans, and I feel like you should have really appreciated that bit.
Yeah, what did she
she switched from like a curry stew to hot dogs.
hot dogs are good.
That's better.
She's like, where do I get more hot
There's
dogs?
less
It's like there's
human.
a store down the road.
There's less human,
Yeah,
less.
Wait, well,
Not
wait,
none.
significantly less.
just less. We don't really know what's in a hot dog.
Gross.
The past started off as a cool part of the story that quickly morphed into a gimmick. By the end, I wasn't feeling it as a plot device or symbolism.
Joe.
We're going to Groundhog Day now. But yeah, so the Cisco thing, the building the castle, my least favorite part of the book.
Mm-hmm.
I
Probably
just,
his least favorite part of the path, or one of them.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah, he
rough.
spent 10
Those
years
10
there.
years, that's most
Yeah.
of
And
it.
they burned up all his stuff very early on. But people
Oh, there we
are
go.
made of
Ew.
people. But like, what's the
Wonderful.
deal with the building the castle? Like,
There was no deal. There was no point.
Dan wants to know how many pages this book was. What in the world are you
They're
doing?
cookie crumbs. Sorry.
Are those McDonald's cookies?
278 pages.
278 pages, Dan.
Why did they build a castle for 10 years?
Because they had to. The smokes wouldn't let him do anything else. But then he found out he could just inhale them.
I
That
didn't
was
like that
cool.
part. Really, I liked the dust buster.
I like the Dustbuster, but I liked when he
Yeah, that was
when he
Luigi's
basically hits his god moment and he sucks them up and breathes out fire. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
So
I thought.
Kira asked, was Ben the producer for his wife too? But his wife went on the path first.
Doesn't everyone
Yes.
have to be the producer of their own path?
I think
what
everybody's
I
the producer
assumed.
of their own path.
But what if Teresa picked the Nirvana door and this was just the life that she wanted? This isn't my idea. Someone else said this
Okay.
in
but-
the discussion. And yeah, what if she made him go on the path and that's just part of her like being a Nirvana thing so that she could connect with him?
Yeah, but they can't talk
Ew.
about it.
What are you saying right now? I don't like it.
That means she's evil.
God, so then how do you know who anyone is?
Oh, it was Katie Dahl said, which I'm also wondering if since Teresa also walked the path, which door did she open? Is the first door back to where she came from the one she opened in which her family and job are all the same? Or did she open the fantasy door where anything she imagines is, and she wanted Ben to undergo this process of self-realization and acceptance?
Katie.
And Adrienne Lamb, she added to that, she asked, what if each path traveler is sent there because of someone else? Then who followed after he was done? Like, who would he send on the path?
Y'all are hurting my brain.
I like it.
Who am I?
I am crying.
Chrissy, who would you send on the path? Would you send me on the path?
Of course not.
Of course.
That's the thing. Like, how could you ever condemn any person that you've ever cared about to go through this experience? Like,
But
I would hope that Teresa would not have that in her because I don't know. Like, yeah, you come out grown, or I don't think that's worth it.
But people are talking about how, like, with Ben, these things happened to him and he never accepted them or never, like, really got past them. And this let him do that in, like, a way that didn't hurt him. I mean, it maybe a little mentally, but, like, I really feel like he came out of it better. But she didn't. Teresa didn't, because she was upset. Well, didn't talk for 4 days.
I wouldn't talk either. If I had murdered someone, pretended that my child was a rock for a decade, and then watched a gigantic human bite off other humans' body parts, I probably
Justin,
would've-
this was a good point. Yeah, she was surprised.
But she knew instantly, and that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm still blown away by the fact that his dad was on the path,
Mhm.
because that did not do good for him.
No.
No. He should have chosen the Nirvana door.
Yeah, his dad came back from the path and gave Ben material for his own path.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is
way
that
to
a
go
metaphor?
there.
Does trauma cause more trauma?
Trauma begets trauma. I mean, he went through the path. But brain.
Matt Weaver, I need you to give me more information.
I wouldn't say that
what
trauma makes
what
you a
you're
better
implying
person,
is
but
going
it's
over my head.
unavoidable, and growing is the only option to survive the experience.
Agreed.
I think the thing that I resonated the most with was, like, the time when things feel out of control, all you got to do is, like, pretend that you're driving, or, like, not all you got to do, but, like, the notion of, like, pretending you were, like, driving the bus, like, that was a pretty cool concept.
Yeah,
to
I
me.
like that too.
Seeing as how there's been a lot kind of
I
out
like
of control
Bethany's
lately.
comment
This one.
about the 10. Yeah.
Quickly past symbolic the way time can just slip through our fingers. Yeah, no, I definitely got
Okay.
that. 10 years went by. He was like 4 years later, and then 6 years later after that.
I've been having some of those, like, 10-year recollections lately, where it's just like, wow, it did go by fast, and for better or for worse, here I am.
Yikes.
Yeah.
For better.
Well,
Yeah, didn't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah, 10 years ago I met Christy, and now
now what?
here we are.
Now what? Okay. Okay. So we kind of touched on this, but Ashley Wade said in the discussion topics post, what did he actually learn about in the end? When he finally makes it home, how is he different from when he started the path, really? How will he live differently? And I also wonder, do we think his wife and his dad did anything differently after they got back? Like, once they recovered? I mean, we don't know that much, but I don't know. Do we really think that anything changed
With him or his wife?
with anyone?
I mean, he was happy to see his kids.
He was, and he was
wife.
single-minded about getting back to them.
Yeah, and
But is that going to fade?
Well, I think that they, now that they, I think what's interesting is that now that they know about it, like, he was expecting to just kind of come back and, like, have his family again, but, like, his connection with Teresa, and, like, knowing that she's also, like, that's what made her go away for that, like, that's what changed her that one time. That is still, like, a fascinating thing for me, that they can't talk about it,
Yeah.
and it's like, ugh.
I will say there's a lot of talk about Murakami and Drew Magary right now, and I will say I much preferred The Hike over Hard Boiled Wonderland, like some other folks have said.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there was a similar.
I think I liked Hardboiled Wonderland better.
Whoa!
I kind of
okay.
feel the same way.
I liked Hardboiled Wonderland, though.
I did not like it.
didn't. but I just liked it less than this.
I liked Hardboiled Wonderland, but Hardboiled Wonderland was a similar, like, I mean, there was two of him. One was in the head, and you know, he's in his own head. I don't remember much about that book. It was weird.
Remember the unicorns and the
No. Yeah.
yeah.
So-
So sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna, why can't they talk to each other about the path? Like, if this is supposed to be a metaphor for trauma and who knows what else, like, it's supposed to get better if you can talk to someone, if you seek help. But what this does by saying you can't talk about it, it prevents you from getting help for it because you can't ever speak about it. Like, how?
Yeah,
how
that's a bit of a
How is that
contradiction.
good?
It's not good. I didn't view it as a good thing.
Also, do you think it is even real? Was it just an empty threat?
Yeah,
And even if it
Could have been.
is just an empty threat, like to what end?
yeah. Like you could die, your heart will stop, and then you open your mouth. Yeah.
But Bethany, this was such a great quote. I really, really enjoyed that too.
I know I never did anything good for you, Ben, but just remember that everything bad can be made good if you know how to use it. Well, he got him off the path.
Everything bad can be made good. What about black licorice?
If you dip it in chocolate,
Then it's chocolate dipped nasty black licorice. You could make it
I'm
into a
sorry.
boat and
Oh,
save someone's
Peggy.
life.
How did Teresa prepare him to get on the path? I'm really curious about that because I clearly see how Ben's dad did.
And that's the thing I struggle with symbolism when it is covered in school. I don't think the author purposely intends the majority of the stuff that my teachers were convinced had meaning. And even if it did, the author could have intended something completely different. As Matt was saying, it's a type of art and our own experiences are going to shape what we get out of it. Yes, yes, yes. I was thinking this the whole time. I was like, man, every single time we have a literary discussion in an English class, I would be like, how do you know? Like, how do you know, especially if the author is dead, like, and you didn't speak to them? How do you know that this is really what the author was thinking there?
Oh, that's right.
it's not about what the author thinks.
Yeah, thank you, Peggy. But I have felt the same way with I took an art class in college. I was like, why are we looking so deeply into the background of this stuff?
I mean, there's that whole argument that like once you put art out there, it's not about you anymore.
True.
Like like your intention has means nothing. It's about like how it affects the viewer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was intention when you put the art out there. Does that mean you no longer have any ownership if someone takes that and manipulates what that intention was? You're still the artist.
It means that it doesn't mean that you don't have ownership. It just means that you're probably not as good of a communicator as you thought you were when you made it. Drew.
So Rick Wiles on the Discussion Topics post had a very different interpretation of the book than how I did, and I thought it was really fascinating. He asked, what is this book about? I understand Cisco is the guy you work with for years, yet end up knowing nothing about him, even though you spend more time with him than your own family. I understand Boris is the executive of the company you work for. I understand Fermona is your boss giving you nonsense assignments as you work yourself to death. I understand Crab is your alternate self that goes to work every day in and day out, bitching as you go. That sometimes the company throws you a bone, lobster dinners, hovercraft, etc., and that everyone is on the path. We can't talk about it because no one will understand, but seriously, what is this book about? And what an interesting way to look at the book, and that like it was just totally new to me, and I just really thought that was great. I don't know what the book's about though, other than what we've already talked about.
I'm more concerned about what Rick's job is. Where do you work, Rick? Maybe you should.
Are you okay?
Maybe you should go elsewhere. Because if I compared my boss to Fermona, I'd quit. I did quit, actually.
Am I getting yelled at? It's definitely open to. I think it's amazing. No, I agree with that. That's what I said. That's what I was saying. We're on the same team.
But I like that you got yelled at anyways.
Mm.
No, Adam.
Or is it no, Adam? Like you agree with me?
So Joe said the path is different for everyone and seems to be about 50% matrix and 50% bad trip, but it has a purpose. It seems to refine the individual, highlight what's most important, provide clarity. What do you think you would see on your own path? Which door would you honestly take? What could you do to yourself or others and live with? What is the one thing you couldn't live without? We're going deep. Joe's going really deep.
I don't
Ugh.
like it. Here's the
Deep
thing,
in
though.
the
I
path.
feel like no one actually knows this answer. You can say what you think you would do, but until you're actually pushed to this point, a point where you could break, I don't think people actually know how they would respond or how they would handle things. Like,
Oh,
I,
this is why you got yelled at. You said the author isn't a good communicator.
Oh, well, that was just a joke.
I like to think that I'd become just like in a zombie apocalypse. Everybody's like, oh yeah, this is our compound. We're going to get super tough. I have my sawed off shotgun. We're ready to roll. But honestly, I'd probably just hide in my closet and then I'd get eaten really quickly and die.
I think I would fare well in the apocalypse.
Yeah, I like to think
Uh,
I'd survive.
I would just-
I'd
At least
bite
a
you
little
first.
while.
Then,
Mhm.
then you'd be a zombie, and you'd hate yourself. Be a self-hating zombie.
Be like, damn it, I'm a zombie. It's like, Talia, it's okay. We're gonna find the cure. It's
There's no
okay,
cure.
honey. No, you can't eat my you can't eat my brains right now. We're gonna find the cure.
That is actually, I'm pretty sure that's an episode of The Walking Dead.
I would
Yeah.
keep you in the barn.
This is definitely me. I would just be like,
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not gonna survive. Julie,
'Cause
you
really,
have to.
what
You're
are
a
you
doctor.
surviving?
Would you
We
want
need
to?
doctors.
Yeah.
You had some fun facts about Drew Magary. Did you want to talk
Oh.
about those?
I
I
got
love
one.
trivia.
One fun fact. He is a Chopped champion. I don't know if y'all have seen the Chopped. It's a reality cooking competition where they have. Yes.
Why?
Where, do you have the one of him dancing?
No.
So he was on a amateur chef episode and he won it. And he got $10,000 for it, I
What
think.
did he make? Do we know what he made?
Oh my god, that's
No.
amazing.
Probably
To
crab cakes or something.
Y'all keep talking. I'm on
That's
Google.
a great
But I love
picture.
that. And there's a really great, is it a gif of him? Like he does this like victory dance at the end and it's fantastic. And it's
It's
just on a
super
loop.
cool.
Well, and I think that's from it, isn't it? No, I don't know. He's making a crazy face.
Hope it wasn't stew.
Yeah.
Crab and hot dogs were in his basket.
Ugh.
Hey, maybe.
Thought that was interesting. But if you Google Deadspin, his coworker wrote a very satirical like hate article about Drew Magary winning Chopped, and it is hilarious. Maybe I'll post it in the comments.
Please do. Or post it in the lounge. It's really hard for me to find stuff in the comments after the fact.
I'll post it in the lounge.
Thanks.
Let's see.
Ooh.
Would you, Kelly wants to know, would you realize your friend or partner or spouse had been on the path just by looking in their eyes?
I've not been
I
on
don't
this
think
path.
so.
You have not been on the path.
I don't think
Christy.
you have
There's
either.
Yes,
too
I
much
have.
joy in there.
Did your heart just explode? Are you dying now?
Oh God, put it back on.
My eyes get bigger when I take my glasses off.
Dan said, I guess what I most want to discuss is WTF.
Why the face?
Why the face?
Why the face?
Why the face? Sorry, I needed all four of us to say it.
No, I will say, for everyone's opinion of this book, it has been a hearty
Throwback.
conversation.
Yeah, this has been a good, like, deep philosophical conversation. Truly a support group, if you will, because we're all trying to make sense of everything, even life. But I appreciate your joke, Natalie. Isabel Martin definitely wouldn't recognize her. She didn't even know her own husband was an alien.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
does that mean she was bad at her job, or was Alien just really, really good at?
I feel like Alien was so far off of being a human being that
Just because he showed up naked and got hit by a car doesn't mean he didn't know how to human.
But there was so much distance between them at that point. Like, I get why she wouldn't notice or maybe not care.
This is an interesting back-to-back
Yeah.
book, The Humans and The Hike,
Two
because
very different books.
The Humans was like, a feel good. The Hike was a feel bad. This was supposed to be like light and fun month.
It was. This was on a lot of lists of like fun reads, and I took
I had
that to
fun.
mean like light and fun, and I was clearly wrong.
I had fun with it.
So
It's depression, drugs, and fun. Not depression, drugs. Depression, comma, drugs, comma, and fun.
yeah.
If you die by leaving the
Oxford
path, do you die in your real life, or is it like video game? You have to go back to your last checkpoint. Ooh, that would have been. a
Or
good
back
one.
to the beginning.
Bethany,
Th-
stop having all these
this
good
book,
questions. I
This
don't
book compares
like
it to video
Video
games,
game.
right?
Yeah.
Man,
Oh,
this
yeah.
chicken scratch on the back, but
Just-
it did kind of feel like a video game. We talked about that last time. It felt like a
Mhm.
point and click.
Right.
adventure
Because I mean, he
game.
can't go back to the real world because if he died, like, how would he know to like not talk about it if he just showed back up in his real body? I don't think that.
It's interesting to see that the majority of the people in the group who read The Humans had a similar reaction to the book versus this one where it's divisive. Well, The
Mhm.
Humans was a lot more straightforward. It was very much less open to interpretation, I think. Just first, the first person narration and all that. But this one, wow. Whoa.
Yeah, it. I will say, you can always tell if I really liked a book because I won't return it in Audible, and this was an instant return. I don't think I will go back on The Hike again. But I mean, not the worst. If someone was looking for some kind of acid trip book that they could overly dissect at the end to try to find meaning, I would recommend this to them.
Steve, I think this is a great idea.
Maybe that's what happened to his dad. He died on the path and fell back to his life, but broken.
Mm.
Ugh.
Oh, that
I
is
don't
so
like
sad.
it. But that's why I love these discussions. I still don't like this book at all, and that's fine. I don't, but I love this discussion. I love how deep y'all are getting. Y'all are so smart. I love what we're talking about. I would read all of these comments and enjoy it way more than
Someone
reading this
said
book
that.
again.
Maybe
It's like this is the book
Kira
that
or
this is the
Natalie
book that
was-
I'm enjoying.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't care for the book, but I'm loving
when I do this and
loving the
all the
discussion.
comments around this.
And I think that it's like this isn't we're not necessarily saying like this is what Drew Magary intended us for us to do. I think it's just on us as like people who want to think and feel like we want to find meaning in things, and I think that's fine. It helps us out.
Yeah.
You think there's a spreadsheet or something that's tracking books that include crabs? Christy has it one, I'm sure.
What I'm getting from this question is that y'all need more crab books, right?
Yep. More crabs. November is going to be crab month.
To be fair, I didn't know there were crabs in either of these books. It just happened. It's fate.
Did you look at the cover?
I saw the hardbound cover, but I didn't like
Okay.
look too hard at it.
So it's right there. It's
Yeah, but
we-
the hardbound cover, the crab is like just a smaller part.
We got some people that started like a spin-off dark book club. Let's do crab book club.
Oh, Katie's in. Katie's in for the crab book club.
Crab book club.
okay. What if
Oh,
What
I'm
if
gonna
I
make it
don't
on Discord right now.
wanna? No, don't you stop it. What if I don't want to?
Oh, yeah.
Read about crabs, but can I just like read a normal book while eating crab?
Please
Let's
somebody
talk
light for
about
November.
crab.
That's on y'all. Y'all vote
Yeah.
for the books.
I'm not sure any of these are light. They're not weird though.
It's
It'll be fine. They're probably not like The Hike.
They're not like the hike.
Are you seriously? Hey, focus. Just one more minute. Come on.
What's he doing?
He's making a Discord channel for
Crab
crabs.
book club. Oh my goodness.
What is?
We don't need that.
No,
We don't-
hey,
we don't
come on.
need it.
Come on. Hey,
We're
hello,
live.
Look right here.
We're on TV.
We kind of
So that. Oh, did we mention Dark Book Club?
I mentioned it.
Okay.
It's over on the Discord.
Yeah.
For those of y'all that like you sick people that like to scare yourselves all the time.
The Discord.
If you like having nightmares, there's a thing over on Discord that I will admit I'm never going to look at because I'm scared to even
And I
read the
feel
things
like
about
they're
it.
voting on their first book. I
But
feel like
that
it
said,
ends midnight, maybe.
I think it's awesome that you guys did that.
Yeah. So
it's like book clubs are having book club. We're like book clubs and book clubs. Y'all do what you got to do. That's awesome that y'all are doing that.
yeah, so we have a Discord. Again, I'll let members post that up. We have a subreddit, right, Adam? I don't know anything about Reddit.
We do. We have a subreddit.
It has one post from the last 2 years.
See, I kind of do the Discord. I don't do the Reddit at all. But
The Reddit.
I guess all of this to say, we are looking at all sorts of options. And if y'all ever have suggestions on, because we understand not everybody finds content the same way or uses platforms the same way, or even sometimes participates in the discussions, and that's totally fine. So, we're looking at other options, and we'll see where that goes. So
we
yes,
read
there's the
all
Reddit.
of your feedback, and we absolutely do take it into consideration, and that's why a lot of things are getting restructured.
Yeah, nobody's used the subreddit, but yeah, it's there if y'all want to.
I don't.
It's there if y'all want to use it. We have
The crab tree.
working on making more places available for y'all to hang out. So yeah, stay tuned for all that stuff. We have also we're also on Goodreads. Just set that up today.
Yeah, today.
So
we're on Goodreads.
We're on Literally Wasted is on Goodreads.
We may do some reviews, maybe.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna do reviews for all the books that we've read in here.
Uh-oh.
Check
How
us
many
out
books
on
have we read?
Goodreads.
29? That's a lot of reviews.
Wow.
Yeah, go find us on the Goodreads.
So you've already heard Talia's written review for the hike that she can go ahead and post on the Goodreads.
You can just copy and paste.
Copy paste. Yes.
We do not have a live journal.
Or
if we
a
did, it would be
MySpace.
full of all my deepest, darkest thoughts, as live journals tend to be. Hey guys,
Maybe we
But
should
we
get a live
do
journal.
have a tab on
just listen to Nirvana backwards.
creedthoughts.com/creedthoughts.
Great thoughts.
It's just a Word document.
Yeah, so we're on Goodreads. We're on Reddit.
We have a subreddit.
There is a subreddit for
It
people
exists.
to do things. There's Discord. There's a Dark Book Club on Discord.
Also, don't feel like, I know we're throwing a lot at you right now, and
You don't
that
have to
can
use
feel
any of
like
this.
pressure. You definitely don't have to. The reason
just
we
there.
put all these random things up is so that you could consume it any way you want, but we certainly don't expect everyone to do everything. And honestly, I don't know how to use Reddit or Discord. So
Yeah.
Well, and we're just trying to figure out what's a good fit.
yeah, we're still learning. We're learning
Yeah.
just as much as y'all
You'll
are.
never, and in any of these platforms, you'll never miss any major announcement. Like, right now I would consider Facebook as our main source of news
YouTube.
to everybody. Well, YouTube too.
Oh no, we can't post.
But we can't
posts
post.
there,
So, we are looking at revamping our website. So it would just be literarylywasted.club. So there's a lot of options and potential there. And again, thank y'all. Thanks everyone who contributed to all of our merch stuff. That's going to allow us to put some resources back into the club and back into our community. And we're really excited about that. So,
Paying for that new website.
Also, yeah. So we just, we are so looking forward to engaging with you guys that much more, for the rest of this year and 2022.
Okay, but so we do value your opinions, and so we actually have a question. You can comment here.
Yeah,
Should
this
we
is
make
important.
a post in the lounge?
Probably.
Okay, we'll make a post in the lounge after this. So be sure to, if you comment here, go comment there as well so that we can get some feedback. But we were thinking, since we just had a huge merch sale for our 2nd anniversary, we're gonna scale it back a little bit because the holidays are sneaking up on us real quickly, but we do want to have one little holiday option that we're going to put out towards the end of the year. if y'all like the idea, who would want a hoodie? Hold on. We already got price quotes, and here's the thing. They are more expensive to make, for sure. Like, quite a bit more. And so we always want to be sure to cater to everybody in the club. We don't want you to feel like you have to spend money, but we also don't want you to miss out on stuff. But the reality is, in order to actually make a sufficient amount of hoodies, they'd be like $45 a piece. And we don't want to spring that on you. Like, think about it, because we also know the holidays are coming up. Although it would be a cool gift. Never mind.
Okay.
It's a pullover.
Well, I'm getting more price quotes and stuff, but yes.
It will likely be a pullover. I'm
90% sure it'll be a pullover.
90% sure. And it would not be if you got a recent t-shirt with the kind of neon glow effect, it would not be that. It would be like your first
the original dual color
t-shirts.
Maybe on like a navy sweatshirt.
Yeah, something different.
Anyways, but yes, think about it, because we know $45 is like
that's a lot of money.
It's not chump change. So I mean, my justification is I've bought some like really nerdy stuff from Box Lunch, and their sweatshirts are really expensive. But anyways,
quality.
They are. But yes, it would be soft. It would be good quality. But is that a reasonable thing to y'all?
And we want
to know.
And Steve, I get it. Hard pass on a pullover. I totally can understand. We may have options. Like, just a lot of times when you're purchasing, depending on the vendor, you may be relegated to one type, and you have to hit that minimum for that one type. Our vendor has been pretty cool about like, no, as long as it's this, because it's screen printed. So we'll look at that, because and again, thank y'all for ever and always voicing your opinions, because we read everything, trust me, and we take it to heart, and that's why we are continually pushing the envelope and trying all sorts of new things. I did really like, to back up, Martin had a really great comment about we should all write a book that's just totally random crap in every one, and we'll just stitch it together. I kind of like that idea.
Well, we know it can work.
We know it can work.
A reminder, next month's discussions, the ghost tree. So excited to read in the middle of the afternoon with all the lights on. October 13th, October 13th and the 27th. That midway point is part 4, the fair. No spoilers, press their point. Where Christy and I will sneak into your house and do the big scary red screen thing that Adam made, where we're like, rah, rah, rah. That was really scary.
It was scary. It scared me when I made it.
It was scary.
Peggy, we will most likely not have that design with the books on the back. Maybe we do that once a year on our anniversary. I could see that and update the list to where you could never read it because it gets so small. That would be kind of funny.
I think you'd have to do like 1 year at a time or something.
I don't know.
How do you run out of room?
Also, this month, in between our discussions for the ghost tree, you ready, Talia? Because we're getting all aboard.
How many chuggos was that?
The Vampire Express.
8.
Vampire Express. We're going to do Adventures in Reading in October. It will be Vampire Express.
Wednesday, October 20th.
I think it's going to be Wednesday. Maybe a Tuesday or what? We'll see. We'll talk about that.
We'll post an announcement.
We will post an announcement. There will be an event, and join us again. We'd love to see y'all for Adventures in Reading. Our third.
Oh, it's not third. I'm putting the threend. Oh, that sounds like an elf. An elfish word.
Okay, really quick. For anyone who's read The Ghost Tree, how scary is it? There's some people who I think actually really need to know.
I feel like you're also like, this is the time to be honest. Like, don't think about that you're tricking me. Think about how you're supporting actually your fellow book club members.
Talia's going to read it either way. She has.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. So maybe console your fellow book club members and let them know whether or not they should read this one.
Or if you just more creepy than scary, which is actually worse for me. Like, I can deal with like jump scares and like that, but like they just make me mad. But creepy will stay with me for years, and I will sleep with the lights on. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited.
Yay.
And it has less horror than The Hike so far.
Okay.
It's
So
gonna be a
we're good. We're
spoopy
good.
month.
Unsettling at times, unnerving, and a couple times gory, but it's not horrifying. I don't think.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys an idea if it's going to be a good fit for you.
But like I should read it during the day and then like watch an episode of Parks and Rec right after to like mental palate cleanse.
Yes.
Probably.
Ooh, that one's a good dance.
I haven't been able to handle dark stuff in quarantine. I love the Ghost Tree one already. Okay, this is looking good.
Okay.
It's looking good.
Dan, I'm going to remember that you said that. So if we need to have a talk next month.
And then, you know, worst case scenario, just think of this guy.
And Adam's going to post the clip of him doing his dance on the
He's got
group because it's
crowds.
amazing.
I can't tell if he's really mad or really excited.
I think he's really excited.
He's just saying, he's just
That's not the face that I wanted to see. All right.
oh, Drew. That episode aired in what, like April 2015 or something like that.
Something like that.
He looks like a baby. But anyway, that's it.
Scary
For our,
like a baby.
that's it for the discussion of The Hike. Thank you all so much for making this such a lively and
Lively.
fun discussion. This was good. This was good. And
I enjoyed this discussion very, very much.
yeah.
And
so-
I can't return the book because I did pay money for it. So you win, Drew. Still got my money.
yeah. So
Oh, God.
I just want to do an author interview where we have like our little
That's his
title
headshot.
card
We
and
put
like
at
you
the
cut it
bottom.
out. You do that cutout around him.
You would name it Drew Magary.
He would probably appreciate it.
Would he?
well, thank y'all for joining us. This was great. And we can't wait to see you again in October for The Ghost Tree and for Adventures in Reading The Vampire
So
Express.
scary. It's upside down.
So this has been fun. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Now watch me turn off this broadcast. 'Cause it takes, I got to click like 3